we are very cautious now. We have a lot of male-centric platforms and spaces where we can get all the information that we need on how to identify a woman's quote-unquote bad behavior. We know what to look for if a woman is doing something wrong. But then when you find that one woman and you're like, man, I really like this girl, I want to settle down with her. Then out of the blue, you get kicked in the nuts.
So I'm not with nobody, cause I don't wanna hurt nobody. Did it over text, didn't call me. Still got love for your mommy. I know you wanna be somebody, even if you gotta leave somebody.
So one of my favorite movies, if you guys didn't see on the community tab, a movie called Up in the Air, and it stars George Clooney. It has so many jewels and gems and messages in there for guys who are somewhat on the go, who travel a lot, and they're not really looking to settle down. George Clooney played a character where his job was to fire people. He would literally travel to different states and he would fire people en masse on behalf of management because they were too scared to fire them themselves. If they had to do mass layoffs, they would hire George Clooney's character to go do it for them. And he would offer them the severance package and all that type of stuff because the managers and the CEOs didn't want to look their employees in the face. So that was his job. And he enjoyed his job. He enjoyed traveling. He would hook up with a woman from time to time. You know, one of the most important parts of the movie is when he came back from a long trip, he went into his house and everything was empty. He didn't have anything in there. He didn't have food. He didn't have that much furniture. But when his neighbor saw that he was back home, it was a beautiful young woman. She was like, hey, how you doing? I didn't know that you were back. She gave him his mail or something like that. And then he looked around. He was like, hey, you want to get together, open a bottle of wine tonight? And she was like, no, I can't do it because I got a boyfriend now. And he was kind of like, shocked. Like, man, my day one is in a relationship. So now I can't use her to get my needs met. And that was the funny thing about the movie, is the fact that they showed him just being a simple, somewhat bachelor, enjoying his life, traveling from place to place. Then he met this young woman. They were sitting in the airport lounges. He started talking to her. They started sharing their elite status cards, get into the concierge lounge of American Airlines. They hit it off. They were both travelers and they ended up hooking up. They went back to his hotel room, had sex. Then they made sure that they exchanged schedules and they would link up wherever they would meet in whatever city they were traveling to. So that was their routine for like the whole movie. And it was just so amazing to see how that played out, because I related to that because I travel a lot. And also when I was in the military, I was always on the go. So, and I already told you guys how my dating life was set up. I was heavily involved in those single servant relationships. I was very honest. I told women hey, I'm on my purpose. I'm not really trying to get into a relationship. If you want to hang out and kick it, we could do that. And I enjoyed myself. But this movie actually put a lot of things into perspective because of the fact of what happened at the end of the movie. And it caught me off guard when I seen it for the first time. I damn near shed a tear. I think a lot of guys can relate to this movie because we are very cautious now. We have a lot of male-centric platforms and spaces where we can get all the information that we need on how to identify a woman's quote-unquote bad behavior. We know what to look for if a woman is doing something wrong. But then when you find that one woman and you're like, man, I really like this girl, I want to settle down with her. Then out of the blue, you get kicked in the nuts. And that's pretty much what happened to George Clooney's character in this movie. And the video that I had to put together, I wasn't able to put the actual movie footage in there, but I did cut it up in pictures and also kept the audio so we'll be able to listen to it on the live stream. So you guys have to watch this. I'll stop it a couple times and explain to you what's going on. So here we go.
So I was in the neighborhood.
Okay, so real quick, let me explain to you what's happening. So he pretty much popped up on the woman that he was seeing on and off every time he would travel. He found her address. She opens the door and she sees him. And when she opened the door, he was like, hey, so I was in town and he heard kids running around in the background. So that threw him for a loop because he didn't know that she had kids. And he also didn't know this.
Hey, He's just somebody who's lost.
The woman that he was having pretty much a relationship with, she's actually married. And he didn't know that the whole time. Remember, like I said, guys, when you watch this movie, they have been seeing each other for a while, to the point that George Clooney actually ended up inviting her to his sister's wedding. So he thought that they were in some sort of relationship where he found this woman that fits into his program. His program is traveling. Her program is traveling. So he was like, oh, this is perfect. And I like her. And I'm starting to catch feelings for this woman, because he was seeing her every time they would travel. But when he popped up, he found out that she was married and she had kids. He was the side dude. So let's continue.
Alex?
So this is the first time that they're calling each other. So after he left, I guess it's about a couple days later, she called him, and this is the conversation that they're having for the first time after he popped up at her house. Listen to what she says.
What were you thinking showing up at my door like that?
I mean, I wanted to see you. I didn't know you had a family. Why wouldn't you tell me that?
Look, I'm sorry I ruined your evening, but I mean, you could have seriously screwed things up for me. That's my family. That's my real life.
I thought I was a part of your real life.
I thought we signed up for the same thing.
Try and help me understand exactly what it is that you signed up for.
I thought our relationship was perfectly clear. I mean, you are an escape. You're a break from our normal lives. You're a parenthesis.
I'm a parenthesis.
I mean, what do you want? Tell me what you want. You don't even know what you want. I'm a grown-up, okay? So if you would like to see me again, then give me a call. Okay?
What was so powerful about this movie is the fact that you rarely see George Clooney play a part where he's off his square. He's pretty much the cool, calm, and collected guy where he gets all the women. But this movie, it actually showed his character actually being vulnerable. And I know a lot of guys go through that because of the fact that sometimes you feel like you found the one and then the rug gets pulled up from under you. And basically what she was telling him is like, hey, I think like a man. And she had a great line in there in the movie where she actually told him, I am just like you, except I have a vagina. And I guess he didn't put two and two together by, actually analyzing what she actually meant by that. She actually meant, yes, I am in fact just like you. So that's why that movie means so much to me. And that's why therapy is so important. And I tell guys, the way that you deal with quote unquote heartbreak is not to sit there and take it like a man. No, go get some help. So shouts out to the movie Up in the Air, George Clooney. But guys, you have a decision to make. You have to ask yourself, are you going to be, want to be one of these guys that lived this Papa was a Rolling Stone, so to speak, lifestyle, or do you want to settle down? And if you do want to settle down, you need to start making plans to do so. And that means you can't be as selfish as you would when you're by yourself. You need to kind of make space for somebody to be in your household. And you also need to be prepared to acknowledge somebody else's feelings and understand them and, adjust if need be. These are the things that come with being with a woman. And so these are things that I had to think about and I had to discuss in therapy. Was I ready to be a husband? Because some guys, they are not ready. And that's perfectly fine. Just be honest with yourself. If you feel content with just being a guy that plays the field and enjoy himself, I'm not going to say anything about that. God knows I did it and I enjoyed it. I have no regrets about it. But at a certain point, you're going to have to ask yourself, is this the life that I want? And that's going to be the hardest decision that you ever have to make, because you have to keep in mind that you have to take care of another person. No matter what women say in regards to this feminist movement and all that type of stuff, it still boils down to the husband taking care of his wife. So if you're up for that challenge, make sure you start preparing to do so right now. If not, enjoy yourselves. Enjoy the dating market. Be safe. Protect yourself, from unwanted pregnancies, STIs, STDs, and you'll be okay. You can do that. Just make sure that you're in a stable place to do so. But that's a question that you guys need to ask. And I'm glad that I was able to share that story with you guys. And, hopefully it gets you to think that, hey, is this the lifestyle that I want to live? Or do I want to live my life with someone else? And that's ultimately your choice. Go ahead and make sure you click that link, get you some Teej Hanley, and support the Medium Man YouTube channel, and also support Teej Hanley.